Hello, my friends. This is a very special episode of our podcast, which is called in English Free Radicals, or in Bulgarian Свободни Радикали. I'm here with my very good friend Едриса Бари from the Gambia. He is the president of the Gambian ESports Federation. But not only that, he is also a African youth representative. He is somebody that's very, very active in the community in Africa. And I just didn't want to lose the chance to introduce you to this amazing person and to ask him a little bit about the life in Africa, what is the Gambia, where is the Gambia, and how do they feel about Bulgaria and Europe and what's happening in the world. So welcome, my friend. Welcome to Bulgaria, and let's start.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas. As he just mentioned, I am the president of Gambia ESports, and equally youth activist representing Africa in different platforms. So to tell you a little about the Gambia, it's a tiny country geographically located in West Africa with a population of 2.7 million as of 2024. Its capital city is Banjul and largest metropolitan city is Serekunda. The Gambia is known for being a peaceful country with people of top-notch hospitality. It is also known for its beaches. Gambia is a top tourist attraction site or country, I would call it. So us as Africans and Gambians, relationship between Africa and Bulgaria, I would say, is a good relationship. And equally, this meeting with the Bulgaria would strengthen ties between the Gambia and Bulgaria as well. So Africa as a continent, the Gambia, is a tiny country, but at least we are blessed because we have a river. It is not a landlocked country. We have our own port, our own airport. We can do everything on our own without depending on few neighborhood countries. It is 75 or 90% surrounded by Senegal. It is only free on the western part, which is the Atlantic Ocean. So if you have any other question, you would need to specify to ask one after the other, and I will be answering. Yeah.
So, Gambia was a British colony, right?
Gambia is a British colony. We gained our independence on the 18th February 1965. Mm-hmm. And our first democratically elected president was Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, who ruled the country from 1970 to 1994, if I can remember.
Wow. And
from 1994 to 2016, it was ruled by Yahya Jammeh. He's the former president. He is our biggest exporter. Everybody heard about him anyway. Yes. So we are currently governed by Adama Barrow, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, who came into power since 2016 until now, and we are expecting elections in 2026.
Yeah. And how are your relationships with Senegal, for example? Senegal, it's like you're the same people, right?
Yeah, the Gambia and Senegal, I would say, two countries with unique characteristics. I don't see any two countries in the world who are similar, who are connected, like Senegal and Gambia are.
Like Bulgaria and Macedonia.
It could be. Yeah. It could be. But I don't think it is even close to Senegal and Gambia. Yeah. We are one people.
Yes.
It is just divided by colonizers.
Yes.
Every Gambian has a family in Senegal.
Yeah.
Every Senegalese have family in Gambia.
Yes.
We are one people divided by colonies.
Yeah. Well, you know that I think it was the last statistic was that around 2/3 of the Bulgarian population have relatives from Macedonia. From Vardar, Macedonia, which was a geographical region that was part of Bulgaria, but during the wars, First World War, Second World War, Balkan Wars, we got separated. So it's basically, I think, the same thing because we have the same language, same culture, same religion, everything is the same.
The same people.
Only we are divided by politics. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah. But how do you feel about that? I mean, how do you feel about, because it's not only like because they managed to introduce two very different languages. Yeah, Senegal is French,
Francophone, and we are Anglophone.
And you're Anglophone, and it's like that's do you like try to closen your relationships with Senegal based on like your native language, which is Wolof, right?
Yeah, Wolof, you know it. Yes, because you have friends in Senegal.
Yeah.
As I just said, in 1970, if I could remember, the date was 30th September, but whether it is 1970 or not, we have the Confederation of Senegambian Confederation. There's even a place in the Gambia called Senegambia. We have a bridge that connects Senegal and Gambia called the Senegambian Bridge. So even for elderly or people who do not go through formal education, they can communicate with Senegalese through these local languages. Not just Wolof, you have Fula, you have Mandinka, but the most spoken language in Senegal is Wolof. It's Wolof. So if you are able to speak Wolof, obviously you will communicate. Every Gambian, even if you cannot speak Wolof, you will understand a little bit when it is spoken.
I see.
So this is the reason why there is no communication barrier between the two countries.
Yeah, it's a totally artificial border between you guys.
Yeah, we have official borders, but as they say, you can always enter Senegal and Gambia without going through official borders.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's even,
it's easier.
Easier.
Where I'm originally from, the village I originally came from, you can just swim from the Gambia to Senegal. You can swim from the Gambia to Senegal.
And there's no border police?
There is no border police. You can swim from this part to the other part of Senegal. So, that's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
It is amazing.
And okay, are there like projects in Africa? Because I know that Africa has something like United Nations in Africa, like the African Union.
Yeah.
Have you ever discussed the possibility to, just take down the borders like we did here in Europe, for example, with the Schengen Agreement? Have you discussed to just eliminate borders and promote more trade and more movement? Yeah, we have the agenda of Africa Free Trade. It is part of the 2063 agendas, USA, United States of Africa. We are working on it, but as you know, diplomacy sometimes takes time because when 3-4 countries agree onto terms, 2 countries refusing would make the deal to be hanging. As you can see, just like the Schengen Agreement, it took many years just because 1 or 2 countries were not yet confirming. Many years and many years and many words. So that's how it is also in Africa. We have the agenda of uniting it to become one continent, one passport, traveling freely within Africa, because it is a very big problem. If I am to leave my country and travel to Morocco or South Africa or other countries, I would need a visa, which makes it hectic. If I fly from Senegal to Gambia, I'm just telling you how close we are. But if I happen to leave the Gambia and get into Senegal, within 5 minutes, my currency becomes useless because my currency is not accepted in Senegal. These are things affecting us, and we definitely need to work on them. So you're thinking also of maybe like a unified currency as well? Unified currency would do. It's something that would really help us because, as I told you, my currency becomes useless once I leave my territory. But you use like dollars now, right? We use dalasi. In my country, we use GMD, Gambian dalasi. Okay. So that Gambian dalasi, you can only use it in the Gambia. In the Gambia. How much is the exchange rate? I mean, how much for a euro, for example? Or a 1 euro is 78 Gambian dalasi. Okay. And 67 USD. I see. That's how it is. Okay. So. And have you thought about I guess that for convenience, maybe most of the people just use like another foreign currency, like the dollar. Yeah, the dollar. If you have dollar, as they say, dollar is accepted worldwide. Yeah. If you bring dollar to the Gambia, to Senegal, to Bulgaria, they accept it. Yeah. But we have these problems, as you know, our currency is restricted to us. Maybe if you have the CFA, you can use it in all West African Francophone countries. That's the CFA is the CFA. African franc. Franc African, You have the BCAO, Banque Centrale de État Afrique de l'Ouest. That's the bank responsible for Francophone West African countries. Yes. The CFA is accepted in Senegal, in Mali, in Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin, I guess. They're all using the CFA. You can use the CFA in the Gambia. But in the Gambia, our dollars, you cannot use it in Senegal. Okay, then why don't you become a part of that? I mean, can you do that? Or they don't want you. It takes time. No, it's not that they don't want us, but as you just mentioned it before, being an Anglophone, joining other Francophones is not something that can happen overnight. And that's the bad heritage that the Europeans left there, right? Exactly. That's because they knew what they did. If the Gambia was a Francophone country, we are with Senegal by now. Yeah, you would be one country. We would be one country. Because we intermarry, the same religion, the same people. We are not enemies. I told you, Senegal and Gambia are the same. Yeah. But the fact that we are Anglophone, they are Francophone, makes the ties a bit hectic at some point. Yes. Because you see Gambians who cannot speak French,
find it hectic to communicate with Senegal. When it comes to diplomacy, you cannot use local languages. So you must be able to speak French in order to express yourself.
And is there like maybe like Gambian nationalists and Senegalese nationalists that want like a nationalistic kind of policy to make Senegal great again, or to make Gambia great again? Do you have
like Senegal, the new president that came into power, they have a slogan that they call Jub Jubal Jubanti. That means to be right, make people right, and right the wrong. That's the simple definition.
I see.
They are here to correct what the former government did.
Yes.
Africa, as I told you yesterday, the only issue we are facing is bad governance. Our leaders are not honest.
Yeah.
They are there for themselves. If you elect a minister, he's there for himself.
Yeah.
But if at all they are plowing back the revenues to the people, Africans would not be dying in the Mediterranean Sea. Africans would not die in hospital because lack of medication.
Yeah.
But what do you expect with a bad leadership?
Yeah. And
So-
Africa is very rich.
Africa is very rich. But like you know, when you are rich and you don't know that you are rich, it's better to be poor.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what is happening in Africa. We are rich, but we don't know that we are rich. Because only a few knows it. Out of the 100%, might be you would say 75% don't know what's happening. If you try to enlighten them, they will make you an enemy. What do you do?
Yeah. And what do you do? What do
The
you do?
only thing we can do as activists is to sensitize our people. We begin with our families, to our villages, our regions, to the country, and then everybody will know. But I have a good brother who once told me changing a society is like turning a boat. It cannot happen overnight.
Yeah.
Thing goes gradually.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Western world will try to put in their democracy to Africans. Julius Nyerere once said, democracy is not a bottle of Coca-Cola that you can import from another country to yours. Every country has its own democracy.
Yeah.
The democracy that works in Bulgaria does not suit South Africa. What works in South Africa does not suit the Gambia.
Yeah.
So the best thing is for each country to know what suits them. And they work towards that.
Yeah.
Africa, if we have good leaders, but also leaders do not come from the sky. They are picked from us. Integrity is what is lacking at some point. People need to be more honest. Transparency. And then Africa will be the best continent on earth. The future is Africa. Even Europeans always say that the future is Africa.
Yeah, that's the-
But how many years we've been saying the future is Africa?
For
When
a
is the
long
future
time.
going to happen?
Yeah, when is the exactly like we say? There's a joke here, and the future belongs to the young people.
Exactly.
But today is not the future, so the old people are still commanding in the government.
Exactly.
And in the parties as well. So okay, then what's for you? What is the way to the future in Africa? You as a youth representative, how do you see it? Is it through common projects between non-government organizations? Is it through more integrated economic cooperation in Africa?
Yeah.
Is it through help from Europe? Do you need Europe?
Basically, if I would say we don't need Europe, that would be wrong. We need Europe in the right way. And secondly, Dambisa Moyo wrote in her book, Debt Aid. Sometimes the aid and funds we request from Europe are doing more harm than good because it makes us dormant.
Yeah.
You understand that point?
Yes, I
The
do.
debt aid was telling you how bad giving funds is affecting Africa because he who feeds you owns you. We just spoke about it not long.
Yes.
Some countries will come with their own policies. We can give you $1 billion USD, but you must sign this.
Yeah.
The masses would not know, but the ministers and the president would sign something that is not in the best interest of the community,
Yeah.
just to receive those money, which is just going to satisfy them temporarily.
Yeah.
So to me, sensitization is what we need. And education. Education here is basically not what happens in the classroom. We lack ethics, morals, honesty. If Africa has these things, we are the best.
Yeah.
With the help of youths, honest youths, educated youths, who knows what's happening. I mean, in Senegal, they removed the president democratically. The vying person was Ousmane Sonko. I think you must have heard about his name.
Yeah.
He was one time the most famous opposition in Africa.
Yes.
The then ruling president, President Macky Sall, did all he could to jail him. But then, because he was not selfish, he recommended somebody else, President Diomaye Faye, and told him, look, go be the flag bearer. And told everybody to rally behind him. They won a landslide victory.
Yes.
And today they are there. Now we're going to see whether they would manifest what they promised us.
Oh,
If they don't, they're going to be kicked out. And the same thing in the Gambia, we are seeing things that we don't like because of corruption. Still now, women die because of lack of good medications. Is that right in this 21st century?
It's not.
Still now, the girl child is going to school barefoot. Still now, children go to classrooms whereby when it is raining, they cannot attend class. Is that fair? In a country where presidents are driving luxurious cars, ministers sending their kids to international schools. You go to Europe, the US, the president's daughters and sons are there. While we, the poor ones, who voted them, who elected them, languish in poverty.
Yeah.
The trend would continue like that. If you send your child to USA, and I attended a very poor public school in the country, at the end of the day, he will rule me again because he have bad education.
Yeah.
I do not. What do I expect? So to tell you the solution of Africa is education, but social education.
Yeah.
Not basically academic education. Africa, look at Africa. One of the most corrupt presidents in Africa were educated presidents. So it is not what happens in the four corners of a classroom, but the ethics and the morals that they manifest. You can hold degrees and still be a crook. Barack Obama once said, Africa does not need an educated president. We need a honest president.
Yeah.
That's our solution.
We also hope that our politicians would be honest, to tell you the truth. We have the same problem in Bulgaria, maybe not in the same dimensions in Africa or in the Gambia, but Bulgaria is a very peculiar place. I mean, we are also a mineral-rich country with a lot of, for example, gold, different kinds of minerals that we take from the ground, but we've given these mineral rights to foreign companies, and they are exploiting them for a very small fraction of what they actually cost. And this is something that I think creates huge inequality, because if the resources of a country are divided equally between the people, then everybody is good, but then they become harder to govern, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess that maybe it is a process. It's something that has to, that will take time. It will take a lot of effort to, to beat. But I think that you have very amazing role models in Africa.
Yeah.
Role models like the president of the former president of South Africa,
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela.
He's my role model.
Yes.
I've been there. I got his book, Long Walk to Freedom, and I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
He said, democracy is an order of social equity. Dividing or sharing the resources we have equally, like you just said.
Yes.
But like I just said, when we talk about education, it's not what happens in the classroom. He said, when we talk about freedom, it's not just the absence of being in jail. In Africa, we are not in jail, but we are not free. We are controlled by our leaders.
And your leaders are controlled by corporations.
This is it.
That's unfortunately, this is something that I've seen in a lot of situations here in Bulgaria. You know, when I've read Marx, you know, The Capital. It's a very interesting book. In the final chapter of The Capital, they talk about the big capital, you know, and it was for me very interesting to read that final part, because you know the first parts of the book are relatively complicated because they're very heavy to read. But the last book is very easy to read. It goes very fast. It talks exactly about the large capitals and how they control psychologically the politicians, not only the normal people. It's what we like to call now conspiracy theorists around the world like to call it the deep state. You know, you've heard about this term, right?
I've heard about
deep state. But actually, what the reality is that this is not the deep state. This is the big capital, and it's not like some super big conspiracy, you know, to rule the world. It's just this psychological need of the politicians to submit to these ultra rich people, to this ultra huge capital, and just you know, create situations of inequality so that they could be in a better position. And like I like to say, and I've said it numerous times, politicians just like to have rich friends. You know,
That's it.
it's not even that they take money from them. It's just they like the comfort, luxury that comes with the friendship of somebody that has billions and billions. And you know, sometimes for normal people, we can't even imagine how much is 1 billion. You know,
Honestly.
1 billion, if you spread it out, it can circumvent the world. The bills can circumvent the world 4 times.
Honestly.
If you have to pick up, if you spread them on the ground and you pick up each bill, you'll need 38 years to pick up a billion.
To pick up the bills.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like this is huge money, and it really, people with money like that, they really move the world in a different way. And for politicians, sometimes, very often, unfortunately, they forget about their main responsibility towards the people, and
That's
they just try to cozy up to big capital.
That's true.
Yeah. And in Gambia, what is the ruling party in what political section of the you know, is it left, is it right, as a, you know, policy, economic policy?
Okay. The Gambia, the ruling party is the National People's Party. I don't get the question again. What do you mean by that?
So it's a socialist party.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a socialist.
So how for example, how do you what's the policy for taxes or taxation? I mean,
Yeah, the taxation is pay as you earn.
yeah, but is it like a fixed percent, like
Yeah.
a flat
Yeah.
tax?
A flat tax.
Flat tax.
So long as your salary does not change or your earning does not change, it's a flat one.
Okay, how much? How what's the percentage?
Basically, I think it should be around 5%.
5% flat tax.
5%.
Yeah, and that's for corporations as well.
That's for corporations. Now, with others, it's a different. But I know of this because I've been working in that system for years. Yeah.
Okay, so flat tax. Bulgaria is also has a flat tax. Do you think that, for example, this would maybe change something for the positive in Africa if corporations, for example, are taxed progressively, like in Europe, for example, like in France, Germany, and other countries from the West, like in the States as well?
Okay. You mean how can the taxes help people, or?
Yeah, I mean redistribution of wealth. Do you think that that's something that should be like on the agenda of the?
It should be, because always what people will complain is that they are not seeing the taxes back to them. It is not being contributed back to the community.
Yeah.
Only for few community enjoyed it.
Yes.
So it is not something you are restricted to pay it, but it is not something that we are seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and 5% is really not that much.
It's really not that much.
Yeah, and for example, infrastructure, how is it in Gambia?
In the Gambia, it's a bit better compared to before, because our former president built roads and bridges.
Yeah.
He also helped with infrastructure, because the first president didn't get us a university, but it was the second republic. He got us a university and also at least a better airport. So he did the best with infrastructure. This other guy also was lucky to host the OIC, Organization of the International Community or the Islamic Community. So they gave him a lot of fund for infrastructure, and he's doing well when it comes to infrastructure. But we always say it is not about infrastructure. Nelson Mandela said, we do not want freedom without bread, nor do we want bread without freedom. For example, if you have your freedom but you don't have something to eat, you are not freedom. You are not free.
Yeah.
If you have something to eat also and you are not free, you are not peaceful.
Yes.
So for it to go, we need good infrastructure, but first of all, people need to be satisfied when it comes to, in terms of feeding themselves.
Yeah.
Some families still go to bed with an empty stomach. So no matter how good the infrastructure is, so long as people go to bed with empty stomach, we do not see the infrastructures.
I see.
A developed country is a country where people go to bed having something in their stomachs. Yeah.
That's the minimum requirement.
That's the minimum requirement.
Yeah. Well, okay then. I think that we covered a lot of interesting topics. We have definitely more to talk about, but this is something that I'm very happy to announce that Eddie will be coming back to Bulgaria with a delegation from the Gambian ESports Federation, and they will be participating here in a training session in order to improve the skills and the cooperation between the Bulgarian Esports Federation and the Gambian Esports Federation. So he will be back, and hopefully we will have another chance to talk a little bit more.
I will add one thing, because I've never met a Bulgarian tourist in the Gambia. I would like them to choose new tourist destination, which is the Gambia. We have the best beaches and more than 200 species of bird. That's amazing. Bird watchers come from UK, from US, just to come and see the types of birds we have. So for bird lovers and also hippo lovers, we invite them to the Gambia.
Yes, they have. We spoke about that. Gambia has a lot of hippos, and they are edible.
Yeah, they are.
I would personally love to try a hippo steak. Yeah,
you will.
Yeah, hopefully we'll come to Gambia. You'll show us a good time there, right?
We'll do that.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.